advanced competencies form, essentially signing off your old core curriculum. Okay, when he clicks on that, you will come to this page where there are all different type of competency that you're meant to reach and needs to be signed off. So for example, in this, I didn't take a whole full screenshots, but essentially in the core module 2 previously, which is the teaching module where you need to do large group teaching, you need to reach level 3. That needs to be signed off. So in this case, your supervisor has to be able to see your old, your zip file. You cannot link it, because there's no place for you to link it. And that is why it's important for you to make sure that your supervisor is able to access to your zip file. Okay, you know, in the first lecture where I told you how to make it available to be seen, so your educational supervisor can be seen. So you need to make that available for them to see, because you cannot link any of this because it doesn't exist on your dashboard, doesn't exist on your ePortfolio. You cannot link it. So you have to make your old portfolio, your zip file available for your supervisor to see it, essentially. Okay, all those items, every single item for this old core curriculum needs to be signed off to complete your old core curriculum, essentially. Okay, obviously you do not always finish all the competency in one go. So if you happen to only have two things that get signed off, you need to come back later. That's not a problem. You save this as a draft, or your supervisor save it as a draft, and then you can come back to edit it later. Okay, obviously if you completed it, everything is checked, every box is checked, you can submit it. So it's complete, the whole core curriculum is submitted and is completed. Okay, so how do you come back to it? So when your supervisor log back into his account, come all the way to this page where you create the form. Can you see where Mr. Pauka has created my core curriculum advanced competency? He has saved it as a draft because I haven't finished it. So now I've achieved another competency. I think I can sign off more things now for my old curriculum. Come back to this form, click on view, and you can come back. You will come back to this form again. Okay, and you tick off whatever you need to do. And as I say, if you completed it, everything, submit it. If you haven't, save it as a draft again and then edit it in the future date as you go. Okay, that's the curriculum items that need signing off. Yep. Any question at the moment? It's just so confusing. Okay, and remember, this can only be done from your educational supervisor's ePortfolio login. You cannot do anything about it. Okay, so your supervisor has to do it. Right. In order to create the ARCP, pre-ARCP supervisor report, same page, you click on create pre-2019 supervisors report. Yeah. When you click it, you will get a form. Okay. Do not fill in the form in the first part. Reason being, you don't even know what's on the form. It's exactly the same form that you remember in the old portfolio. We have to fill in how many OSATs, how many CPD, how many teaching, all this information is exactly the same form. But because you can't fill this form, you can't fill it in at all. So in the first go, what I need you to do, just make your supervisor create this report as a draft. Okay? So go back a little bit again. In this page, create pre-2019 supervisor report. You just create the form, go right to the bottom of the form, save as a draft. Okay? Just save it. And then you come back to your supervisor another date. When your educational supervisor save it as a draft, when you log into your ePortfolio, you will be able to see the draft. Okay? So when I log into because Mr. Kauka has created for me, so when I log into my ePortfolio, I go to my profile and I go to additional forms. I will be able to see what are the advanced, the core curriculum items that he has signed me off. I will be able to see the draft pre-2019 supervisor's report as a draft. Okay, it will come up. So this is what I see when I log on to the additional forms. Okay, there's two documents there. One is the core curriculum items competencies I can see, and the other one is a supervisor report essentially. Okay, as a draft. And the supervisor report will look something like this. So you remember, it's exactly the same as the old ePortfolio, where you put your NTN number, who is your educational supervisor, what is the anticipated CCT date, all those exactly the same. I will log on to my ePortfolio in a minute to show you, okay? What I need suggest you to do, read through the whole form. If you need to print it out, by all means, print it. And then you need to go back to your zip file and find out number all sets you have done previously, edit it on, and then get all the information ready for the new form. Okay, you cannot edit it at the moment. You just can't. You can only edit it from your educational supervisor login. At the moment, when we met Mr. Baker from RCOG the other day, at the moment they are trying to create an edit button for the trainees to edit the form from our login for our ePortfolio. The aim is to have this ready before the end of April. But with the coronavirus situation, I'm not sure it will be ready or not. It might be, it may not be. Just in case it is not ready by the end of April, I suggest you already get all the information you need for the form. Go back to your supervisor within the first 2 weeks of May, so that he or she can log into his or her account. You sit in front of the computer and input all the information and slowly, bit by bit. And that's no easier way to do it. And once you completed it, your supervisor can complete his or her from the educational supervisor point of view, that bit that he or she needs to fill in, and then you submit it when the whole form is complete. Or if you can't deal with it, you want to save it as another draft, you can, and then come back to it later to complete it. But you would all of it has to be from your education supervisor's ePortfolio login. You cannot do it from your side. Okay, what I'll do in a minute essentially is to log into my portfolio to show you how the form actually looks like.
Ian, do you know if that form's available as like a PDF or Microsoft Word on the RCOG website?
No. I had a look. There wasn't that when I last looked. So I'll have a quick look. I'll quickly show you.
Or do you know if it's similar to the one we filled in last year, for example?
Yes, it is very, very similar. I had a look. So I'll show you the competency one first. Essentially, what does it look like? Okay. So you can view it as this format, or you can view it as a table, which is a bit user-friendly looking. Okay, you can view it in either way, view or view as a table. View as a table is a lot easier. So can you see, these are the competencies that I need signing off for my to finish my core curriculum, which if my supervisor can see for my OZIP file, he can just co-sign it and then just finish it off essentially. Okay, but you cannot edit it. You can only view it after the form is being created. This is where the problem is. Okay, so if we go back. Okay, supervisor report. I'm just going to show you very quickly. Okay, I prefer viewing it as a table because it's a little bit easier to read. Okay, I'm just going to very, very slowly scroll it through because Mr. Calculator was create the form so that I can see how it looks like. I cannot edit it, but at least I can find out what information I need when I fill in the form. So I'm just going to very quickly just go through it. It's exactly well, at least for my memory, it looks very similar to what it is like the old ePortfolio. Okay. So the sickness and progress since your last ARCP matrix, have you able to complete the matrix, all those, and then one of the questions that I had was, do I need to fill in, what do I do with my ATSM, because my ATSM is in the new curriculum. Fill in a separate supervisor report because there is this segment that you say what your ATSM, when did you start, have you completed it, if you haven't completed it, is there any satisfactory progress, and a comment from your education supervisor. Okay, so you don't have to fill in another supervisor report on the new like how those were on the a new curriculum. Okay, I know you're on the new ATSM curriculum, but you don't have to fill in a separate form. Just use this one this year. Okay, So there's the ATSM and where there's any satisfactory progress. So all those, and this is the OSATs bit, okay, that you need to fill in. So all this, you can only view it as it is. You cannot edit it. I'm hoping RCOG will be able to create the edit button, so at least we can edit from our portfolio, and then your supervisor just need to fill in his bit. That will be similar to how it used to be. So it's exactly the same form. So these are still the OSATs, and then the CBD and mini CACs, and then your audits and things like that. Okay, so exactly the same, and then your formal declaration and it's down there as well. Okay, and you cannot edit it, but at least you can. Once your supervisor creates it, you can at least see what it is, and you go and find out what are all the individual information that you need to fill in the form. So if the edit part time, you can edit it. If it doesn't come back by the 1st of May, I suggest you to start going to your supervisors, start filling in from your supervisor's ePortfolio login, essentially. Okay, right. That's the core curriculum or ARCP form. The other question that I got, or a couple emails, is ATSM sign-off. Yes, your supervisor happily signing off your ATSM, everything has been done, but in order to have an ATSM to be signed off, I know the sign-off paperwork is still paper-based, but your preceptor, for example, if you do advanced labor work, I think Miss Manjula will need to be able to see your portfolio. She's based in Peterborough, unless you want to bring your whole computer and meet her in Peterborough, which would be a bit ridiculous. So what you need to do is so make it such that he or she can, your preceptor can see your ePortfolio evidence on your ATSM. So at the moment, there's no way. Some of you already figured this out. So what you need to do is to make your preceptor as your educational supervisor temporarily, just to get past this hurdle. Okay. Once you make him or her as your educational supervisor, he or she will be able to see your whole ePortfolio. Once they review your portfolio and they are happy to sign off, then you can take them off as your educational supervisor again. This is just temporarily measure to help you get your ATSM signed off or reviewed by your preceptor. And that's the only way we can do it at the moment. And that is what Mr. Baker from RCOG ePortfolio team is suggesting that you should do, because that's the only way we can. For future, we will try to create a role so that the preceptors have access to those who are doing the relevant ATSM, but at the moment, we haven't created that. So we have to do it with this way for ATSM sign off. Okay.
Can I just add, if you add myself as well as your education supervisor, then any doubts that the preceptor might raise, I will troubleshoot. So if you add both, I think it helps and reduces the number of queries and, the frustration.
Yes. So Ms. Manzo, as one of your education supervisors, it doesn't matter how many education supervisors on your system. It's just temporarily. You can take it off later. Once your ATSM is signed off, completed, you want to take it off. There's not a problem, because as we know, sometimes there are a lot of queries depending on the ATSM. So it's not a bad idea to do that. Okay, that's the ATSM. So now I know it's very, very frustrating. Very, very difficult, but these are the only thing me, Mr. Kauka, and Mr. Baker from RCOG can come up with to resolve the transition from old to new ePortfolio. It is difficult. I know there are things that can be better thought through, but we just have to try our best to use it. And if you have not even logged into your portfolio, please start using it, because the more you delay it is not going to help. Okay. And